Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr. .eth, you are you, and together we are minting coins. We are minting coins. We are talking about Web3. We're building in Web3, and a part of Web3 is ENS. And there's a lot of ENS updates. There's a lot of ENS grants. There's a lot of things coming that people are very, very excited about. Right now, it's the future, but someday it's going to be history. And if you're watching this now, if you're watching this in the future, this is the history. We are a part of it, and we're going to get into it. But we're not going to do it alone. We're going to do it with a couple other awesome people. One of those, Ada.eth. Hey, how you doing? Who are you?
Hey guys, I am Ada.eth. I am founder of Web3 Domains. I'm just getting over a crisis of sound, but I have my whiskey. So we're going to have an awesome show.
That's your whiskey. You have some sound. It's good sound. What kind of whiskey you got?
We are featuring today Journeyman Distillery. Trying this out. It's organic whiskey. I forgot where they're out of. I did some more research on them, but I will have that information while my brain refreshes. I just need to do the reboot button and we'll be back. It's fantastic. I love it. And I'm enjoying drinking it.
Very cool. And I'll enjoy drinking it with you. We're also here with Rocket Emoji.eth. What's up, man? How you doing? The cool, awesome, dark blue, purple ambiance you got going on. I'm jealous.
It's only more so I got a mess in the background. So if I shut off the lights and turn a light on bright, nobody sees the mess I got going on here. But yeah, we're doing good. There's a lot that's happening. Like you said, the small grants. I'm excited to dive into it. We're the history that's happening. And I love you guys. And thank you for hosting the show. I think that Journeyman's, I believe, it's from Michigan. Does that ring a bell? Yeah. So we're good there. But yeah, I'm good. And I'm ready to get into it. Thank you.
Very cool. And it's not just going to be the three of us. It's going to be the four of us, and it might be more after that. But Steve Miller, the ENS shark, the ENS, the shark, he's got it all. He is it all. Who are you?
Like you said, Gary, I'm Stephen Miller. I'm the host of the ENS Shark Tank, and I do a whole lot of big things in Web3. Still building, and today drinking blends, and I'm very, very happy about it.
Well, I'm happy you're here, and really loving the Shark Tank show, I have to say.
Thanks, man.
I think it's fair to say that the Shark Tank show is on the longer side of shows as opposed to the shorter side of shows. And I don't know, because I just like to show up live. It's kind of like in the middle of the dinner time and whatnot. So I haven't actually gone to check out anything. If you don't have it yet, what I would really like to see is it like a table of contents, so I can like buy the ENS name. Mm-hmm. So right, it's like I could just cut to that clip. All of that. You have such great content with all those little clips, right? All those 3 to 5 clips for each name. That's content gold on top of content gold. Like I can't wait for that what do you call it? That archive, right? Because you could make a database of what people said. With all that, it's really it could be really a lot of fun when you think about the indexing.
Yeah, what people don't know behind the scenes is we track all the data, of each of the pitch. So when it comes down to it, we're logging every pitch that comes through, and we're just trying to figure out how to repurpose a lot of that data. So at some point, you're going to be able to see like an actual indexing of all the domains that have been pitched on a given episode. So we're working up to it, but we're growing and we're evolving. I've been really excited to be able to share a little bit of that with the community across the last week or so, especially in yesterday's show. And we are only going up from here. So I'm pretty pumped, man.
Happy to watch it to whatever degree, happy to be a part of it, and super stoked that you're a part of what we got going on here. So thanks for showing up. Novax.eth, Gembox.io. Who
what
are
is that?
you?
Is that showing up? Thank you, Gary. I see that we have the byline thing. I never saw anyone do that before, and when it popped up, I said, "Oh, this is fun." Now I got something to put in there. So, hey guys, I'm Novax, and it's good to see everyone. God, I've been like feeling terrible the last couple of days. I've been sick for just lingering on, and it's just been just a drag. But and I was just had so much momentum to get building because I've been developing on Gembox.io, just like in the most crude way, kind of revisiting CSS and HTML, and then stumbling around a little JavaScript and script kidding it up a little bit, and it's fun. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's who I am. I've had a great day on Spaces and stuff, and an awesome time on the Shark Tank with Steven and the guys yesterday. And there should hopefully be some others trickling in from the domain plug space I was just a part of, and we let them know to come find us here.
Totally cool, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for showing up. Always love having you. I always think you're wearing a fly fish hat, but I don't think it is, but I like that it looks like a fly fish hat. And I think I'm gonna have to get you a fly fish hat one day.
Actually, I've been fly fishing before. Just one time, my friend, he's this country guy from the sticks, was showing me how to tile the little lures and everything. It's a beautiful art. Now I just watch shows about it, and that satisfies my need to do that sort of thing.
Well, I'm talking about the Gary V Fly Fish Club. You know about the V Friends Club?
You introduced me to it, and the whole time you were describing it, that's what I was imagining. I was like, good, take people out of the city, get them out into these rural areas, and then you informed me that it was this very high, high luxury kind of dining experience, and I was like, oh, well, that's very different. Yeah, that was cool.
They're actually building out the restaurant as we speak. They secured it, I think, at the end of the location, and it's in New York City, right on Hudson Street, and they're literally are like following the roadmap, like that by that by that by that. And I think they're scheduled to open sometime later this year, if I'm not mistaken. But they're fantastic. I mean, it's like such a great group of guys. And if you follow like the main chef, is it like Chef Chapone or he's a hoot, and he has all these videos on Instagram, and I literally watch it. And he has some like incredible stuff that he cooks. None of it is healthy. Just a disclaimer, none of it is healthy. Like, I don't even know how his arteries function, but it's so deliciously looking that you want to make every single thing.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and with that, shout out to the club, the very, very wonderful club, and we actually have a date with Chef Capone coming up in like a week. We have
like a threesome or something.
Well, I mean, it's going to be like, in some ways, it's going to be like, probably like, the three of us. But in other ways, it's going to be a big group event because we're going to be doing, what is it, the cooking session. Yeah, so we have the virtual cooking session coming up. But I love it. I don't want to digress too much because we have a lot to go over. We have a lot to get into. And I just want to say thanks for showing up. This is Minting Coins. Feel free to check us out at mintingcoins.com. Mintingcoins.com. You can learn a little bit about us, potentially become a member, support what we're doing with minting coins and Web3 domains and all of our secret sub-ventures. We're super excited to go over information with you and just explore this space because there's a lot to explore. A lot I want to get into tonight about the ENS, the small grants, the ecosystem of public goods, the sort of blue dot emoji mystery going on, and a bunch of other things. But before we get into it, I just want to say cheers. thanks for showing up. We have some more people coming. But salute to Web3, to ENS, to minting coins, and to each of us here and not here. Cheers.
Cheers. Wait, Steve, did you say you were drinking whiskey or not whiskey?
Oh yeah, no, I'm drinking whiskey. Well, bourbon to be more
You're
specific.
drinking bourbon to go cup. I love it.
No, my wife was generous enough to pour my my Blantons into some coffee, so I'm working with a Kentucky coffee today.
Hey, that's the way to go.
Got to keep it cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm still like the person that sneaks drinks into the movie theater. I have yet to get caught.
I knew there were so many reasons why we get along, but this is easily one of the top.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I mean, you have to just like, I mean, everybody thinks adulting is a serious thing, but it really isn't. Like, it really isn't. Like, some days I like have to count how many times I like face plant and how many of them are public and how many of them are private, right? And as long as I'm standing at the end of the day, it's good.
And on the blockchain, sometimes we face plant, and it's going to be there forever because people can see, not only can they see the record of the face plant, but someone might have made an NFT out of it.
Yeah.
And not only do they make an NFT out of the face plant, but they can have a nice, easy ENS domain. So it's very easy to locate the said NFT of said face plant in a world where I think every NFT in the world is going to have an ENS name, right? Like, if you think about every ENS name that's ever been on the Shark Tank, you could have, some name dot, some name .eth. It could be some name dot Steve Miller Shark Tank .eth, and that could be the ENS name to the NFT of, the whole history of the valuation that anything has ever said at any time it's ever come up in the history of the Shark Tank on the record. And we have this technology, we have these records, and on top of it all, we have this naming system. And what I'm sort of confused about, because I understand ENS pretty well, what I'm sort of confused about is, what does this blue emoji have to do with ENS? Like, why is ENS retweeting Coinbase? And what's up with this blue emoji? I got to thinking, does it have something to do with identification? Does this blue emoji have something to do with ID? Is this a blue check? And so I got blue check.eth. I thought blue emoji check. I thought blue check. That's cool. But what do you guys got? You guys got any 411 on what we're looking at here?
I was in a few community spaces today, and every community space seems to have their tie and how it ties to them, which I absolutely love. I was watching some of the ordinal space, those NFTs that are on an Oracle protocol on other chains, and they're like, oh, it's the ordinal circle, it's the ordinal circle. I do know a lot of communities, though, they have like the two separate emojis that refer to what chain they're on. And I'm trying to think what chain is blue. So I'm trying to think maybe Arbitrum, they're integrating with Arbitrum, or maybe it is ENS, like they're doing something with their IDs and that's just kind of how they're going. Because like the ENS logo is blue, but there's a lot of theories to throw out there and a lot of people saying, oh yeah, that's our community's thing. It's fun to see. I'm excited.
Hey Gary, you may want to make sure that like you go and register that blue emoji followed by balls as well, in case they miss the 23rd as the announcement date.
I saw that. I saw it. And I was like, to register this or to not register this? That is the question.
I mean, look,
this is very interesting, guys.
What? Blue
It's
ball?
named. It's obviously named. I don't like any of Rocket's ideas on this, all of those wild conspiracy theories. It's obviously just they're integrating some cool ENS functionality. It's going to be great for us and everyone. Hooray.
What does it have to do with the blue emoji? Are they gonna am I reading into the emoji thing too much? And the reason is because like ENS retweeted it with nothing but a blue circle. Like, what is this blue circle? What is the significance of this? Is it a
It's
token?
bad signal. It has
No.
bad signal. It's signaling significance.
I think
like,
it's
we're
signaling
doing
layer 2, honestly. I think that's kind of what it's signaling.
Look, I don't believe anyone here is correct yet. That's kind of where I stand. I think that if you think back historically now, across the last couple of weeks, there was a trend that popped up between a number of different projects. And it was them like going back and forth sharing this handshake emoji, right? They put it on different backgrounds for each of these respective projects. And it all indicated and led up to some bigger announcement. This to me is just something that we need to go search better. We need to go in and we need to figure out what other projects are reposting it, because the likelihood is there's a link between all the ones that are posting the blue dot.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's with the layers. I'm like layer 2 all the way through. Because you look at all the projects, it's a lot of them that have been reposting it. It was like the layer 0 standard that has cross-chain connections. You got ENS, that's I would assume doing all the layers they can. Coinbase offering multiple layer support, and like there's a few others. So like that's my personal opinion, but we do need to dig deeper in this because it's coming tomorrow, and I would love to know.
Without waiting until tomorrow.
Yeah, without waiting until tomorrow. I'm too eager,
You're out here trying to front run a trade, aren't you?
I don't know. I'm not saying nothing here.
Yeah, someone else saying a potential another EMV layer 2 chain, or someone else saying a potential token. I'm one. Yeah, I don't know. No. Yeah, they're creating buzz.
I
Is
mean,
the emoji just symbolism? I mean, they not only did they do the emoji, but it's also they also took the time to do an emoji, not just a blue circle video, but the blue circle in the video is is the same emoji. So it's like there's a lot of emphasis here on the emoji, right?
so quick question: could it be a token?
That would be my first guess, but I don't.
Wait, is ENS token tradable on Coinbase
Yes.
already?
It is.
Okay, so it's not that.
I just don't know if they have the balls to do a Coinbase token when it's a publicly traded company, unless they all of a sudden are the leader in having regulatory clarity in our country. And I don't think there's one of those.
That could be huge, but yeah, I don't think we're that close yet. And there were some people saying, "Oh, it's an airdrop," and Coinbase wouldn't do an airdrop with being located in the United States. I mean, legally we can't receive a lot of those things, so it's interesting there.
Luke, I just searched blue emoji on Twitter just to see who's got it in their name. Is there any clues? Have you thoroughly clicked through all those 92 retweets on that post and kind of done an analysis of who was sharing it? And are there some people with blue call signs with that emoji?
No, I haven't looked into it other than just talking to other people who have talked about it in group chats and stuff.
$ blue circle.
That's funny. So somebody actually launched a coin off of it since the trend started, and the coin itself is actually up like considerably because
is it a blue emoji at all? Because I can launch a coin that's a blue emoji.
Yeah.
Dang, nice.
Maybe
They beat me. They beat me, man. You know what? That's honestly probably punks out there.
Okay, so there doesn't seem to be much in common of the people who are rocking this blue emoji. Supreme God, Kabir, DJ Scoop, GC student section. Like, there's nothing like certainly nothing crypto unifying. This emoji has no significance.
In all fairness, it could be an integration that isn't crypto related. Like they could be integrating with some other company that is not in crypto. Or not in crypto yet, should I say.
What if Coinbase already an outed what if Coinbase is instituting an ENS delegation, an ENS token delegation and governance portal?
Does it have anything to do with ENS? I mean, ENS is just another company that retweeted it.
All right. Who
Gary,
wants to
isn't
go ahead?
Coinbase the highest token holder?
They're the top delegated to delegate currently.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking for a scary option, they could be trying to tip toward a Facebook partnership, because Facebook has been using the F blue dot logo even through the meta transition.
I'm gonna go into the corner now and cry.
That is a scary one. I agree. It's too scary. We can't even entertain that. Actually, guys, I was saying the other day, I watched the full length. Well, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched a good amount of the interview with Zuckerberg on Lex Fridman, and I said 90% of me said that's an obvious Android artificial intelligence. Don't be fooled by his plea for your compassion, but then there was 10% of me that knows exactly what we're dealing with, and that still just wants to believe it, that just likes him. He's very persuasive. Zuck is very human in that interview in his long form. Like he's very, and he makes some great points about how difficult it was to manage the whole thing. Like, and Lex kind of evokes from him, return the question back to the people. What's the best way to do it? You know, to just expose like what a difficult challenge it is to try and moderate any content. Although I don't think he gets any passes for being a tyrant. It was an interesting conversation. Anyway, made me think about it more. But Zuck, we can't have Zuck. What do you think? Would you guys like it, Gary? Would you want Zuck to adopt you? It'd be great for adoption, I suppose.
Yeah, you know, I mean, on one hand, yeah, it'd be great, and on the other hand, it'd be really, really great, you know, because I mean, the best time for anything, right, would have been when it first came out, and the second best time for it would be today, right? Today. So if tomorrow everyone Zuck comes out and it's like, this is a huge partnership, you know, and it doesn't really seem like that, but if this was a huge partnership between Coinbase and ENS and Facebook, then instantly all of our bags would be validated. All of ENS would be validated. All of Ethereum would be validated. All of the whole Web3 stack would be validated. You know, extending everything from ENS to on-chain monkeys and Bored Apes and Uniswap and the whole, all of it, right? And there would be a flood of interest coming in, and we would have a very short time to benefit from, you know, that interest and funneling it into those of us that know what we're doing, so that we would be able to put ourselves in strategic positions to, you know, ride that wave. It'd be this massive wave and we'd have to surf it. And then by surfing it, that means capturing the attention of all these tech companies and wealthy venture capitalists who suddenly go, WTF, what did Facebook just do? What is ENS? And with that tsunami of a wave coming in, I would pull out my Web3 surfboard and I would try to capture that attention and position myself to, you know, compete with Facebook, because token governance is the basis that all this stuff works right now, and that may and could change over time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that'd be crazy. I mean, that'd be crazy, you know, if Facebook came in and bought like 5 million tokens and pushed the ENS price to whatever, you know, even if it was like, pick a ridiculous number, like $10,000 a coin, that meant they controlled the whole protocol, right? Yeah, man. I mean, the big thing is that it would be great because it would bring in all of this attention. What would be better is if we can all get our shit together and if we can all have business plans, and if we can all have our ideas of what we're building, and if we can get capital to come in, and we can leverage that capital to, you know, grow something that people actually want, that people will actually use, so that hopefully you can like squeeze some sort of, you know, revenue in whatever that thing is that you're building. And then we can each build something that puts our organizations into a position where we can purchase ENS tokens. And then on our balance sheets, we just hold ENS tokens that we don't ever sell, but we use those for voting. We use those as like a foundation, like our business, like the bricks of the business are made of gold. And you don't ever, you know, the kingdom, right? You think about the kingdom, the castle, it's like the floor is made of gold. And the castle is doing great. They have an economy, they have security. You don't ever have to take that gold out of the floor, you know, if you could imagine such a castle. But you just know, you know, if Fallout, like the castle is worth as much as like the gold that it's built on, right? So when you're holding these tokens, it's a position of voting, it's a position of power. And yeah, man, I hope that all of us are able to like do what I just sort of laid out before Facebook comes in. But we are just so bloody early. Like people in crypto are barely, it seems like they're starting, right? Like Sadaf's space today, talking with the flip.xyz up only, you know, team. That's a big player. And then we have Toby.eth and Shopify. That's a big player. We have Matt Higgins, Shark Tank, you know, whispering like sharks. I don't know what a shark sounds like. I recently learned what a fox says. I don't know what a shark says. But whatever he says, you know, Matt Higgins is saying it to Mark Cuban. He's saying it to Robert Herjavec. He's saying it to, you know, Kevin O'Leary. And he's saying it to Gary Vee. And so there's just a lot of like big rocks that are moving, right? In the ENS world, the Web3 world, there's a lot of shift, not just these little pebbles and these like large rocks of people doing what they got to do. It's these very large rocks that are moving. Yeah, I think we're doing something. I think the layers are being built. I think we have foundations. I think we have growing pains. You know what else I think we have? I think we have 184 sneaking in through the door in between all the work that's going on. What's up, 184? Who are you?
Hey, I'm 184. That's easy. How easy is that? 184. 184. You don't need to remember anything else. 184.
184. You don't need to know no more.
Simple.
It's not a key cap or there's no cash tag or underscore or anything, apostrophe.
There's no blue dot. It's just 184. Hi.
So beautiful. It's so elegant.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I don't think it's that, right? I mean, I wonder if the people that control the ENS account, if they know anything or if they're just playing with it and having fun. Like, we don't even know that.
How often do they do that? What does the data show? Do they play and have fun randomly with Coinbase account often?
Coinbase is a very close, I don't know what to call it, but Coinbase is like an enterprise client who has reached out to the DAO and that the DAO has worked with in order to initiate Coinbase subdomains and CCIP stuff. So Coinbase can have ENS names. And, you know, so it is like there is a relationship.
It's totally out of the blue in that context for sure.
Not totally out of the blue circle emoji. See what I did there?
You literally minted a blue circle emoji derivative today.
Dude, I feel, I don't know if I feel good or if I feel dirty.
I feel bad about that.
I should.
Something I would have done. That's something you should be doing.
Yeah, I gotta go back and see, like, because there were some other good ones I just like let go, but you know.
Was there a run on them? Was the registration bot just going blue dot, blue dot, blue dot?
Maybe. Yeah, there's probably a couple of grails we went to like mint like during this call here, but Cool. So yeah, so there's a lot of things that we don't know in terms of what they're doing or what they could be doing or what those relationships are. And yeah, I mean, that would be like I feel like I can't imagine Facebook adopting ENS this soon. I feel like Facebook, would try to compete with ENS before they would adopt ENS.
Do dying animals put up much of a fight, or do they generally just kind? I mean, they do fight a little, I guess. But I think
it depends at what stage of death.
I think we're in a pretty catastrophic state of death with Facebook. Honestly, I think they'll take anything.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard. I don't know if they're that at that state of death. You know what I mean? Because I think about like lions eating like a gazelle, and the gazelle will like fight it, and then after a while, the pain receptors are so high that it just like sits there while it's being eaten.
I have a totally like broken sense of the perspective, but I feel like the momentum. So regardless of the ad revenue and the active user base and everything, which all those numbers are totally in their favor, I feel like the momentum is very anti-Facebook, and so the writing is like on the wall, and they need to adapt. So it would make sense if they were doing something like that. But I like to approach a question this way, Gary. What do you guys think is the best thing that could happen for ENS and for the ecosystem? And what do you think is the worst thing? Because for me, like Facebook adoption is almost maybe one like raises that kind of a question. It's more of a philosophical question in a way. What do you think?
Best thing, worst thing. I mean, the worst thing, again, the worst thing that can happen is that someone, a huge like player comes in and purchases 5 million ENS tokens. That's the only worst thing that can happen. Besides like a catastrophic like bug or something. But like, like realistically, the only worst thing that can happen is like, I mean, even if it was like Facebook plus Apple plus like Google plus like whoever, like a FANG sort of deal, and they came in and they purchased like 5 million or 10 million tokens, and they had, that level of control, that'd be wicked crazy.
I mean, if you want to talk really best case scenario, you could theorize that like, okay, what if Facebook's coming in and it's like by way of an additional like announcement with Coinbase, but the link to ENS is that Facebook as well is going to start up with their own naming protocol using ENS, right? Just the same way that Coinbase delivered theirs with the dot whatever bullshit thing Coinbase did. Sorry, Coinbase, I'm just not a fan.
Wait, are you saying like subdomains of what?
No, so like, I mean, you know how the Coinbase instituted the Coinbase ID, so the .cbid or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Facebook may be trying to make a play at that as well, and it's just part of a larger announcement that Facebook could be making with Coinbase, right? That announcement could be coming with Coinbase, and then in addition to that, they're going to follow Coinbase's lead and do a similar naming push.
Or it doesn't have anything to do with naming directly. It could indirectly, but it may. I mean, think about it. It's a blue dot. I like this Facebook angle. This Facebook angle has legs, and Coinbase is the people that did the tweet. So Coinbase isn't ENS. It's ENS adjacent, and so Coinbase could just be saying, hey, we have we're going to like Facebook wallet could be like Coinbase wallet, right? Facebook could be integrating Coinbase into Facebook. So any Facebook user, any Instagram user can buy and send or receive cryptocurrency through their connected Coinbase wallet. And hey, PS, if you have an Instagram account and you have a Coinbase wallet, that means you have an ENS name.
Wait. Have we missed the most obvious thing, which is that does Coinbase have an ENS marketplace yet?
So no, they don't. But also breaking news, just picking up on it, but apparently Rarible just got on board and tweeted a yellow dot emoji.
Okay, that's a serious clue. This means something.
That's how it is, man.
You never know, man. Come on, Gary, get conspiratorial. What other colored dots are we going to see getting into the mix tonight?
Ingesting. It's gonna take a
know.
minute.
Why is it
I
going
think it's just got to mean the bull run.
Green dot, Cash App, done. Moving on. What's next?
I need see that the problem with the conspiracy is that you need more than one data point to have a good conspiracy. You know, you can't just be like there's like a UFO in the sky. You got to be like there's a UFO in the sky. You know, and then you got to like I want to get into conspiracy land in the pre-show. But the point is, because there's a lot of ways we can take that. The point is you got to have more than one thing. You know what I mean? You got to have more than one data point. You get to right. There's a cork board with conspiracy. You see, and you got to like pin two things together to have a string connected. You can't just have a dangling string on one pin connected to nothing. That's a sticky note, right? You got to have at least three things so you can like connect the dots. So what are my dots besides one blue circle?
I follow this. I'm with this. This makes perfect sense to me. A good conspiracy does require multiple points, and for that reason alone, because the yarn would necessitate that.
I don't know. All right. Well, I mean, if you guys like see anything, let me know, and we can come back to that. We can, share any links. If you got any links for me, we can get into some other topics. We can pivot.
It can unfold live while we're doing the show. Was it last time? I think no, it wasn't. It was last time that Steve was with us that the whole thing blew up with the NFT scandal. And it was like unfolding as we were on the show. So
yeah. All right. So let's see here.
I mean, if you want to open up another can of worms, I just literally saw a post that I think both you and Otto will both care a tremendous amount for.
Okay.
The first round of speakers for VCon this year just got announced.
Oh yeah.
With a musical performance by Busta Rhymes.
no way.
Cool.
Nice. I got to between like VCon and the Apes, I got to see like some of the coolest performers in the smallest of venues.
Yeah.
Like the first time that the Ape Fest happened was like, I mean, it was crazy. Like we were literally like 3 people from the stage and nobody knew what was happening. Like it could have been nothing. And so I have all these like photos through the whole night of all these performers rotating. And it was so funny to kind of see because they tried to like hit generationally. And so it was very, and it's like a wide gap. And so some of the performers, they were like, some of the younger kids, they were like, who the hell is that? And we were like, no way. It was like, it was so bizarre. And like last year was like the same thing. Like it was like Eminem came on stage and like Snoop came on stage and like for a hot second Timberland came up and I was like, oh my God. Like it just was like crazy. And you're in this venue of like, 15 to 2,000 people. And Gary Vee is like the same, same way, like some of the best speakers and you're like right there.
Steve, can you zoom in?
Yep, I'm trying to.
Okay. All right, so let me see here. Oh, there you go. It's a little better. Going away, going in and out.
There we go.
Let's see here.
Oh, look, there's Gary Palmer. Whoa.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
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 Hold it still. I'm searching those .eths.
Come here.
You got Deepak Chopra.
That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of great artists, a lot of great people from a lot of great projects. I recognize a lot of these great names.
Wow.
Some too big to even say. Plus a lot of other people. Cool.
Where is this happening this year?
Lucas Oil Stadium.
In the
Indianapolis.
20 minutes. 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 20
Yeah, this is the conference that I'm always very, very, very excited about. It's like very well put together, and it's always like super, super, super inspiring.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. This is a really, really solid lineup. So
It's not even over yet. He'll have more than that.
yeah, this is just round one, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought you might like to see that. And it also kind of gives us the opportunity to segue straight into what the hell proof of conference. Would you like to bring that up for a second, Gary, and give us your thoughts on how the Moonbirds are flying away with our hearts?
Yeah, man. People are really sad, right? Moonbirds were going to have a conference, and now they're not having a conference. Is that what you're talking about?
Indeed.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, people were. I'm not a Moonbird holder, so I only lately follow things. I'm surprised I, even like know all this. But yeah, they were going to have like a super big, awesome conference that all the holders that have very expensive NFTs were very excited to, go chill and chillax and have a great time, like, talking about their bags and their projects and, eating and drinking and smoking and just like rocking out. And yeah, Moonbirds, Kevin Rose, and that whole team, they just like, they said they looked at the numbers and they looked at the market sentiment, like the number of people that, said they were going to show up, who were going to show up. And they made a decision that, it's better to cancel the concert or cancel the event than to have a half-ass event with a bunch of empty chairs, right? And a bunch of empty everything. And yeah, and so some people, they're really disappointed. And I think the proof is going to be in the pudding, or whatever phrase you want to say, because the conference, and I don't know for sure, but I would say the conference is just delayed. And later when they have that conference, if it's better organized and better timed, then it's going to be, people are going to be very just as happy in the future, right? Than having a shitty event now and having that be a mark and a stain on your reputation of doing a half-assed job that nobody, even something that people don't even want right now because we're all at the bottom of the market, versus waiting a little bit, doing it right, and being able to have an awesome time with memorable photos and great content. And that's my understanding of the situation as an outsider.
Did you? Yeah, that does kind of bring a downer, but like you said, in terms of a bull market, spirits would be up, and you'd have a lot more people kind of paying attention then to like, oh, this is what these events are about, because you'll have more eyes, of course. But on Moonbirds, I'm not sure if it's official them or anything like that, but on these ordinal chains, these ordinal protocols that are being built on Bitcoin and now Litecoin, it was forked too. There was 10,000 of them that got minted on Litecoin today. A full like collection of Moonbirds. And I say this, it probably might not be them, because I do believe Moonbirds is like, it's open source, like everybody, it's the licensing is available for all. I think that's what Kevin Rose is about, if I remember right. But yeah, it was really interesting seeing it come across, like just 10,000 of them. I was like, holy smokes, that's a lot of time.
So it's like a clone. It's like a clone of Moonbirds on Litecoin, or what are you saying?
Yeah, so it's like well, no, they're newly generated. Like they're newly generated. They got different backgrounds. The background has like a Litecoin pixelated thing in the background.
Yeah, but is it connected to Moonbirds? I'm confused.
I don't know. Moonbirds is like license free, open source. So like it could be anyone who did it, but there's 10,000 of them, and there hasn't even been a 10,000 collection other than On-Chain Monkey that went to Bitcoin with it. So
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole CCO, but yep. Cool. Well, yeah, Steve, what do you think about the whole Moonbirds conference? Do you think the disappointment is too great, or do you think it's good that they're delaying egg on their face?
I think it's the latest in a string of terrible communication from their team. They are in this phase of having overpromised and like basically saying upfront to their community, we're here to overpromise and overperform. And we've had consistently seen now from them that
they promised that.
Yeah, they said in, I believe it was their second to last town hall, that their goal is to exceed all expectations. And that's fine. You would expect that of a company that raised $60 million in August. In a bear market. You're telling me you can't make a conference happen with $60 million? Like, this was one of the biggest pieces of their entire plan. And for it to fall through, like, I mean, I understand why the holders are pissed. I myself am not a holder. I'm not here to FUD them at all. But it's disappointing when you are on the end of all these big promises. The CCO thing was a big disaster as well. And again, it all comes down to communication. Like and it's funnier because you look at what happened with Ryan Carson 2 or 3 weeks ago now, which is a distant memory to most folks in NFTs. But what happened with him, it just goes to show you that both Kevin Rose and his former COO share the same exact PR team. They don't have one. Like that's what this comes down to, man. That's what I see.
How long into how far away was the conference supposed to be? Is it like, because you said bad communication, was this like a week away or 6 months away? Like when was the
We were talking about a couple weeks.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's again, like I'm an outsider, so I mean, if they're specifically saying, hey, we're gonna overpromise and overdeliver, then you can't deny that was what they promised and they didn't do that. And for 2 weeks away, guys, you got to get a plane ticket or tickets, and you have to get like potentially a car, but you definitely have to get a hotel. It's, I mean, not everybody pays the extra $50 for the cancellation insurance. You're never like really expecting that, an NFT. What's the floor price of this NFT? You're not expecting like that level of I mean, geez,
Roughly 60.
2 weeks.
Roughly 60 right now is their floor price. But at their all-time high, they were up around 30, I think was the all-time high.
Yeah, still. Yeah, no, I mean that cost people a lot of money. I mean, I didn't realize that 2 weeks away.
I'm sorry, it was not 2 weeks away. It was May 11th through 13th is what it's saying here.
Okay. Yeah, so 3 months.
I mean, look, it still did feel very out of touch with the industry.
It's still very short. Yeah.
Like it felt out of touch with the industry. And I complained about this with you guys on a Whiskey Wednesday about a month and a half ago. I spelled it out. I was like, these groups are not coordinating at all. They're basically telling their customers and their holders, we don't give a shit that you want to attend NFT NYC and VCon and all these other incredible events. Why, like, when we could all just actually communicate and work this out and coordinate on a proper timeline and bring people together in one big place. It's missed opportunity, man. That's what it comes down to me.
I think that there's I think that there are very few projects that can pull off what like VCon is. And I don't think that, I know that Gary Vee isn't pulling this off because he started an NFT project, is because he has decades and decades and decades of experience, and because he has like teams upon teams upon teams to execute. And we were
his infrastructure and process.
Yeah.
But teams, yeah.
But part of the Fishfly used to do these wine tastings with Gary, and we were actually talking with him about VCon and what it takes, and he was like, it's like a 7-digit conference, like literally that's what it takes to pull that off with such a level of organization. And we, like, when we went to VCon, I literally was talking with this Gary, and I was like, please don't let it be like any other conference, because it was a shit show. It was like standing in lines forever. It was zero organization. It was all these like talks spread out between 5 venues. It takes like an hour to get into every venue, and talks are literally like back to back to back. Like you can't even walk from one venue to the other. And so it just like made zero sense. And he organized it seamlessly. Like there were some lines the first day, because you always have people that are like there since like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I mean, it was like a breeze. It was such a quick process. And literally, like, all he was doing during that time was making sure that people were getting through the lines. Like, that's like where his focus was. Like, he had entire teams like processing as quickly as they could. And I think that with a lot of these projects, like, their better bet right now is to piggyback on an existing conference. And we have seen Apes do it for 2 consecutive years with NFT NYC. And I think it was a great idea, because like the first year they did 1 event. No, they did 2 events. They did the yacht party, and then they did the big warehouse party. And last year they kind of went, okay, we're doing like a 3-day kind of thing. But it was still like during the day you were at the conference, and then in the afternoon/evening you went to Ape Fest. And this year was the first year when they were like, okay, we're gonna do our own. So they didn't just like jump into it. Cool Cats did like an amazing thing. They had like the whole warehouse like decorated, and it was like you literally walked in, and it was like this whole like game. It was all gamified, and it was like you played all these crazy games. You got a bracelet, you scanned it, and you get free merch at the end of it. I mean, it was like amazing. And you know, they were there like the entire day. They actually pulled crowds that weren't part of Web3 because it was so cool. Like people would just come with their kids and check it out. And so I think for a lot of those projects that don't have that operational power, that is the best bet. Like, because people are already there. So you're not like people are already going to these events, whether you do it in New York City or Miami or whatever. But I think it's way over most projects head, like way over their head, to be like, you know, we're going to do a conference. And I think everybody's like, oh, let's do a conference. And then they start organizing and they realize like how deep the rabbit hole goes and how little resources you have and how zero experience you have to manage that, which is totally different than managing an NFT project.
But the thing is with Gary Vee and with the Apes is that they have a proven record of being able to execute efficiently, successfully, right? Have there been hiccups? Yes. Have they recorded those hiccups and adjusted their plan year over year to have fewer issues to become a better operator of conferences? Yes. And, you know, listen, I in a lot of ways, I don't like recreating the wheel. I like looking at what works. I like looking at who works. And I like putting my money on proven winners, people that show up, people that, you know, are consistent, people who, you know what they're doing and know what they're saying. And, people, you know, projects like the Apes, project like VeeFriends, I think are no-brainers. I think they're just proven winners. And I put ENS up there. But the difference is that VeeFriends are controlled by Gary Vee Incorporated, VeeFriends Incorporated. The Bored Apes, a little more decentralized, but the Bored Apes are controlled, you know, the Bored Ape Yacht Club is controlled by Yuga Labs Incorporated. And yeah, there's a DAO for the DAO coin, sure, but the Yuga Labs owns what they own. ENS, yeah, we have some delegates, right? But we have like, you know, like Uniswap has like 2 delegates that control the whole, don't they? Am I wrong about that? They got like 2 delegates, maybe 3, that control all of Uniswap DAO. We got like 17. You know, we are so much more decentralized than a lot of these other like billion-dollar DAOs. That's the difference between ENS and a centralized project like VeeFriends, a centralized project like the Bored Apes. You know, ENS Vision, they're a corporation, a private corporation. They own themselves. And they are building on top of ENS, right? You know, the ENS project NFT, just touching like every single thing, and like yeah, it's a technology. It's just like no comparison. But where you can compare it is that it has a proven track record of succeeding, a proven track record of like doing what it's supposed to do. And that goes with the NFT, the domain name, and that has to go with the DAO. And it's not always pretty. And if you want to start paying attention to things, the sausage isn't always like fun to make. It takes like work and everything. But, hey, again, you look at a centralized project like Gary Vee, he's putting in the work. He's making the sausage. 99% of everybody apart, like benefiting from that or watching other people benefit, they wouldn't do the work. They couldn't do the work. They wouldn't show up every day. He's showing up every day. He's putting it in. He's building what he's building. And and I want to see more people do that. And me wanting to see more people win, more people grow. That's why. Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope. That's why I'm really into the ENS small grants. And we have one going on right now. We have another one about to go on. The ecosystem one, the voting is open. 45 proposals, ends in 12 hours or so. And then we have the public good one, which is about to start. You guys check this out. You guys look at these. I know it's a lot of work. Looks like the top person, Dalen.eth, cool person, hung out with him a few times during DevCon in Bogota. A lot of fun. Probably the most prolific user of the ENS forum. I doubt there's anyone that I would have a hard time imagining someone using the ENS forum more than him. But runs the ENS DAO newsletter. Pretty impressive, over 1.1 million votes. But again, shows up, does the work. I don't know if you guys check out that newsletter. It's really good.
Gary, what was the specific proposal in here that impressed you the most?
Oh my goodness, the one that impressed me the most. There were a couple. So I'm super excited about Greg Skrill's ENS registration widget because selfishly, I'm going to be able to, the way that I read this, I'm going to be able to take that widget. We're all going to be able to take this widget, pop it on our websites, and be able to offer ENS domain registrations. So you're going to be able to go to the Shark Tank website and, or Web3 domains, and I'm going to be able to pop on an ENS registration widget. And I think that's really, really cool. Very similarly, this PugSunETH.eth has this ENS data where it's returning ENS records in a convenient JSON API. And that JSON API, you can have a developer take that data from those lookups, and then you can reformat that data so you can do lookups, right? So again, with the way that I understand this, with the help of a developer, I could more easily tap into the blockchain and then do lookups on, for example, web3domains.com. So there's a lot of, separation between the cool things in here that are content and the cool things in here that are code. What else that was really cool? Yeah, I mean, I think those were two of the coolest things. I thought this domain ding was really, really cool. I've seen similar things like it with WhatsApp, but I think it's really cool how they're also adding on the SMS and voice calls. I thought that was really new. I kind of wonder how he's going to pay for that because, the SMS and voice call, builds up. I'm not sure if he's going to use something like Twilio API, but it's definitely not free. So that'll be interesting. There's a lot of things that are sort of connected, with the subgraph documentation, the CCIP read ENS records mapper dev tool. There's a lot of sort of foundational stuff, tools in the tool case that, I'm not a developer. I do a little bit of developer management, but there's a lot in here that I think if all of like once all this is created and organized and the developer looks at all these pieces, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, depending on the developer. They're gonna be able to take these pieces and build like a masterpiece, right? Like a chef taking a bunch of ingredients from the wild, or a mechanic having a bunch of really cool pieces and like building something new. There is a lot of really, really juicy stuff that I don't even think really belongs in here. I think a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about is almost, more of a public good. I think it's going to be able to used way beyond, just ENS. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
I think I just lost the mute button for a second. I thought that honestly, the one that you just passed a second ago on special character awareness was interesting. It's not going to get like nearly as many votes as it probably should, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just because like with something like normalization coming, it's so important to have like an actual marketing push around it. And if we don't, it's just going to go unnoticed and it's going to be underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that legitimately could have a big impact. And I've been talking with a lot of people lately about, the fact that the marketing budget could be so much, or should be, in some people's opinion, a lot bigger than it is right now. But it's just not being prioritized. So it's another ongoing argument. But yeah, I think that this would be another good thing that should be receiving a little bit more attention.
Yeah, when people talk about ENS DAO and the marketing budget, the number one that I think, not so much number one, but like a huge part of it is just the awareness that it's really easy to waste money on bad ideas, but it's also easy to waste good money on good ideas. Because if you have like a good idea and you don't have the experience or the proper organization or the proper experience, it's like I could have a really good idea to like, build a sandcastle, but or like an igloo, but then it could crush me. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have the experience or something to that effect. And so
I get that, but like you can also put somebody at the helm of it to like properly vet out a marketing agency.
Exactly.
You don't have to do it internally.
Exactly.
Somebody competent to manage the project.
Exactly. Exactly where I'm getting at. And so the question is, before we talk about the marketing budget, like let's take a step back and ask who's going to be that person at the helm, who has a proven motherfucking record of succeeding. I don't want someone that says they can do it. I want at this level, right? Like we're a big level. I want someone that has done it and can do it in a way that's in the ethos of ENS DAO and Web3, and can, has proven to be responsible for, a $500,000 budget or $1 million budget. And then they can hire a team of, 3 to 5 people to manage different aspects to execute their plan. They can create a plan for a budget, hire a team they can execute. Maybe that includes content creation. Maybe that includes developer relations. Maybe that includes money for advertising. Maybe that includes money for a conference. But just like we were talking about with the Moonbirds and the Kevin Rose example, you have to have someone that can execute. And this can't be a failure because we overpromise and underdeliver, right? I'm okay underpromising and over-delivering. I'm okay overpromising and over-delivering, but I'm not okay with not delivering.
So I have a comment on this topic in general. It's a little bit of a maybe perhaps just the value of absurdity, exploring the unknown, that sort of a thing. The Google dollars for just, get off in the weeds and ideate a little bit, and how that can turn into something wild. There's a guy in my local community who has broken the whole system and turned it all on its head by becoming the goat surfer who's trained his goats to surf. It's amazing. And dude, he's the first dude I'm onboarding. Like, he seriously has a successful book that he has published. He hosts soccer camps. He teaches lessons. Receiving Ethereum payment would be an outstanding convenience for his customers and a cool thing for him to do. And he's very forward thinking. So he's the first guy. and I think about local onboard, like what's the most value to the whole ecosystem and stuff that we could support. And it really, in some ways, it's kind of like, what's the craziest idea? You know, it's like Doge, like putting a mascot on a NASCAR or whatever. It's like we got to have some amount of just crazy out of the box thinking, which I think is extraordinary. So some of the stuff that meets that description, as impractical as it may, meet the ears initially, can be very useful.
So I'll just jump in and say, from a different angle as well, the private industry wars are also going to be their own type of marketing and advertising. So if we use Ethereum as an example of what is a public good, no one necessarily advertised Ethereum, but everything that was built on Ethereum, including the Ponzi's, were essentially thrown out there. So people that saw some financial incentive for themselves, or people that had different visions, those things advertised, come and build on Ethereum or do something on Ethereum. And what we had earlier today, I mean, we've got some marketplaces. We've got definitely ENS Vision. We've got Domain Plug, Codex, and of course OpenSea with their little blue dot. And today we had Siddharth showing FlipXYZ. All these places, I'm going to use the word compete, and it's not always compete, it is collaborate as well, but they're all going to compete and collaborate with one another. And to get to the top, or to have market share, or rather, because there's enough for all of them to be profitable, they will say to the world, this is what ENS is, this is what your .eth can do. And to make money and to grow, they'll bring on new people and they'll build it out for themselves to survive. And that doesn't require the ENS DAO to do anything. Now, I'm in the camp that the DAO can do things, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't. But I think that we can say that there are other things that are occurring, and there will be a tipping point where it's just going to naturally happen. I'm not saying sit in our hands, but let's acknowledge that everything that has been occurring in developing the protocol, and back to Coinbase being a major researcher in CCIP read, a major partner for ENS, they're in the wings right now. And let's say tomorrow is an ENS integration, or not integration, it is an ENS marketplace, or it's a year from now. Eventually they'll do it. We know that because it's inevitable. But all of this is essentially showing off to the world the very thing that we're asking for. So I am a little bit in the camp of, right now, the work that's being done by, the work that's happening from researchers, the work that's like technological achievements. So the name wrapper, CCIP read, brain dump. We know there's about 4 or 5 things that are happening right now that are sort of from developers for ENS, as well as maybe things that they've stewarded. Signing with Ethereum is not theirs anymore, but it's something that's close in partnership. All of this stuff is at some point going to have a, what's the phrase? Is it like a critical mass? I don't know, whatever. There'll be a point where it pays off, and those that maybe not understanding the whole picture, or not understanding what's coming, not understanding perhaps what's in that sort of technological achievement, those that are just saying we need more marketing, it's not the wrong statement, but just saying we need more marketing without understanding that, I think they're going to be shocked, and they're going to say, holy shit, all of this stuff together, this little jigsaw of what came together, oh, sit back, it's doing it for us. Like, it's just happening. So it's just another angle that I think exists. And again, the ENS visions, the flips, FlipXYZ, the domain plug, they are in perfect position to carve a piece of this industry for themselves that's untouched. And they themselves are going to create value and that's pretty powerful. So I'm excited for that. I think Ledger sort of touched on it in a theme. I'm not sure to know. I don't remember exactly, but he touched on what he's excited for. It was the wars. It was like the wars of different domains and things. Sorry, different TLDs. But I think that applies also to marketplaces. I'm stuck in a loop, which I tend to do. I'm stopping.
With great knowledge comes great money. I think is part of what I took away from all that. And yeah, and just to kind of wrap up some of that, or just to add on to some of that, it doesn't have to come from ENS Labs. It doesn't have to come from the stewards. If you know an A-level player, and you can bring them, and someone like the D-Gens, the fucking D-Gen G-Gens, the ENS T-Gens, and they like them, and then you get people on the other end of the spectrum, like the D-Gens like me, the professional D-Gens, if you will, and I like them, and they're really that good, and they can come up with it. They can write a plan, or they have someone that can help them write a plan because they've made millions of dollars. They can take that, come to the DAO. They can have their own proposal. They only need to find one of the 15 people to submit that proposal for them. If they have any level of credibility and they can write a halfway decent proposal, I'm sure someone would be happy to, make friends with that person and see what happens. And if 1 million people vote, if the proposal says, first of all, this is my proposal of my rockstar marketing plan and what I'm going to do with the money that I'm asking for, and I'm asking for $1.2 million, or I'm asking for $700,000 or whatever. And this is what I'm going to do with it. This is how I'm going to spend it. It's like a 6-month plan. I'm going to hire these people. We're going to do this. I'm going to get this set up, and then we're going to do this. Or it's a 12-month plan, whatever. And then it goes through. 1 million people vote on that. That's a quorum. And 51% is a win. And then the funds would get released, and that person would be entrusted to take those funds and do what they said that they were going to do. And there is some level of fraud where they have to do it. They can't just take the money and run away and be like, there's they can't do fraud, but they could fail. But if they come with a proven record, they don't have to come from ENS Labs. They don't have to come from the ENS DAO. They just have to know how to do the fucking work in a way that's professional.
So I don't mean to sound difficult when I ask this, but I've been trying to evaluate this further and how DAOs can be defensible and accountable with their issuance in more recent weeks. Are there certain things built into the ENS DAO that allow them to, I guess, not have a clawback, right? But that allow them to take legal action against those that do not follow through? Because I don't know the answer to that personally.
Yeah, that can absolutely happen. The DAO is legally structured, and it's a 2 of 3 multi-sig, and there are lawyers involved, and this is true for both ENS Labs and for ENS DAO. And yeah, people can't be, and yeah, I mean, I honestly, I need to do a little bit more research. I can't say 100%, but if I write a proposal that those are my words saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm asking you for money. It is a proposal for money. I'm saying, give me money. And I am saying, I will do this. And separately from that fact, hypothetically, it's also a fact that in many jurisdictions, blockchain smart contracts count as law. Those are legally bindable and admissible. And so if someone says a statement of intent and they obviously go against that statement of intent, then I am sure lawyers would salivate for that potential to go after that person that ran away with like $1 million. You know what I mean, right?
I think it's a good question. I wonder if, based on some of the structures that exist, yes, for ENS Labs, there would be those courses of action that could be taken, but the ENS DAO and the working groups, when they do give out funding, they do it on that retrospective nature, and it is kind of like retrospective work, and it is no strings attached in theory. Same with the recent, $12,000 for the year. I think it was 1,000 streams per month for 12 months for a few people. All of that is no strings attached. And so maybe, to Stephen Miller's question, maybe it is the case that the DAO, which is the protocol and a system of governance, doesn't actually have that capability. So for anything that is large consultancy, maybe it does need to be run through ENS Labs. Just to challenge that idea that maybe there is some nuance to it and separation occurs in that way, because
except it doesn't. I mean, all that sounds nice, like as in terms of what could be done, but it's just, the fact is, like, it doesn't have to do that. The fact is, like, everything I said could happen. The fact is, like, so anybody can come in, if they can come in and be smart and professional and organized and well written and well spoken, right, and have a proven track record, and then if they want to do it, and then if they come in with a good proposal, so I'm up to like at least 3 ifs, right? And then if they can get one of the 15 stewards, delegates that have 100,000 ENS tokens to submit that proposal, and then if it gets a quorum of 1 million votes, and if they get 51% of those votes, then those funds will be distributed to that person through the ENS DAO without ENS Labs involvement.
So I get that part, and I sense what you're saying, that yes, there would be you could take legal steps afterwards. However, I'm liking the question in that maybe it is far more complex to take that legal route. If it is funding that's been provided by the DAO, as opposed to funding that's been provided from the DAO to ENS Labs, which then has a different sort of legal structure.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that, yes, what you're saying could happen, that ENS Labs can ask for that money on behalf of a contractor, or
to pay the contractor. They can essentially be the
contractor. But that doesn't have to happen. Like, a contractor can just choose to not do that.
I get your example. Structurally, it can be paid by the DAO. It's more that legal question.
Not just that it can be, but that there's nothing to stop that from happening. Like you could have an opinion that says, I think it's better for this to go through ENS Labs. But even though that can be an opinion, and that opinion might be true, that it's better legally to protect the DAO for that to go through the DAO, if it instead just goes through the DAO directly, then it just is what it is. We can't if the DAO votes a certain way, then we can't stop that. And if we did want to take legal action, then it would just would have to come from that direction, right? It's kind of like saying, don't use the back door, but there's like no way to stop someone from using the back door.
I think the reason why I brought it up, and like one of the biggest difficulties that I have with it, is the need for agile movement sometimes when you're filing suit. And again, like it's not necessary in all cases, right?
The DAO can move with agility, because they only need 2 people to vote. Out of 3 people, they only need 2 people to vote.
You mean ENS Labs?
No, ENS DAO.
Who's the 2 of 3? Because there's ENS Labs is Validator, Brantley, and Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the 2. Two of the 3.
For the DAO as well. Okay, yeah.
Well, for the DAO, yeah.
Forgotten. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if Validator is part of ENS Labs directly or not, but yeah, I mean the DAO needed money to pay the lawyer and the DAO doesn't have those funds in one of the petty cash buckets that have already been in control of the three stewards, like maybe the governance steward has a bucket of cash that's like administrative bullshit, and they can pull from that administrative bullshit bucket of money to pay the lawyer. But in terms of like the DAO having to sign a legal document or a tax document, that's just a 2 of 3, multi-sig. Yeah, I mean the DAO isn't really supposed to be used to vote on social consensus stuff, even though sometimes it is. And it could be used to vote on a social consensus thing, like, should we sue this guy for not, hypothetically, for not doing what he or she said that they were going to do? And then there could be a social consensus vote where the answer is yes, maybe. And then upon that yes, then the steward would just execute against that.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that, like, if you don't know the inner workings and the ins and outs of the DAO yet, you need to take a lot more time to like really learn it. And again, I think that goes for anybody. To say that any one person outside of Validator, Brantley, and Nick are experts in it, we all need to keep learning. Keep pressing what we know. So I think it's probably the biggest takeaway I've got here, because I've got plenty more to learn.
Yeah, you and me both, brother.
Yeah, we were talking to Punks about for an hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours actually, on this topic of law, ENS law today. Went all different corners of the, started off with the standard stuff, right? The IP stuff and all the DCMA, the anti digital squatters protection rights, and we spoke about that. But then I kind of prompted him to speak more about instantiation and liability and limited liability. And it was a really good conversation in that direction. And he spoke a little bit about kind of some things that he's seen utility in setting up for himself with his God, I can't remember the exact language that he used. I think it was cascading. I made a note of it here so that I wouldn't forget, but it's all, if I remember correctly, Delaware series. That's what it was, series, and direct and IRA series LLCs. Very interesting what he's describing, basically being able to just do self-directed NFT and blockchain trading inside of the auspices of a tax-deferred account for retirement purposes, as long as nothing's being liquidated out of the account. And so then he defined a way to do that with it in the legal structure, where he can set up under one series, a Delaware series. He can define an infinite number of other tranches, which each have their own limitation of liability, right? Existing with whatever the EIN associated with them is. So each, by instantiating this way, you have all these employee identification numbers associated with these different ventures, and this, you could scale it infinitely with no additional cost, because you set it up in this series corp, as he was describing. So anyway, it was a very productive conversation to that, and it gave me a lot of knowledge I didn't previously have. Might be pertinent to what you guys were just talking about. I hope it was.
Yeah, there's a lot going on all across the board.
Yeah, and honestly, I know he wouldn't show his face on here, right? But to have Punks in here to be able to get into some of the legality of it would probably be a really big help, right? Especially for the sake of that last question. So again, what you just added was like super helpful. I seriously wish that we could get him across a couple other platforms, but I know he's really keen on remaining on. So,
well, no, I mean, he's pretty much doxed and everything. I just think when it comes, so I don't think he would mind at all. I mean, he shared his picture in some Friday night happy hour spaces and stuff like that as well. He's pretty public, actually, in a lot of, I mean, less, I mean, in the Twitter spaces, but he's pretty chill with that kind of stuff. I think he's more concerned about just the liability aspects of. But he was talking about doing some sort of DAO thing recently, at least kind of like kicking the idea around about, is there a possibility of a need to kind of, you know, DAOify the legal process for people, you know, like us, and this kind of, because he's getting all these questions and it would make sense. So I think he's sort of considering it and workshopping it. I don't know. You might even get in his ear about ways that you think it could be useful or whatever. See if it can be. I would love to have a service like that. I mean, couldn't you imagine? Just if we could, like a legal advisor DAO kind of deal where, boom, be nice.
There's already a couple of law DAOs, and I have thought about like some of that legal aspect of stuff as like a non-lawyer, but as like a someone that does marketing for content, and you know, law content is law content, even though it's not law advice. But I mean, speaking on like the sort of like the trademark and the squatting stuff, did you guys see my thread that I did about the topic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, it's just like, yeah, it is really important to get in, you know, to sort of like the Web 2.5 as we call it, right? There's a lot of Web 2. I don't know if you guys like subscribe to the Web 2.5 theory or, you know, view of the world. But yeah, there's this one right here. It's a really long tweet thread, but this post here that says, basically quoting here, if someone who is not the trademark owner registers, you know, variation in your company number, a name, bad faith, personal name as a domain name, bad faith, intent to profit, liability $100,000 in statutory damages per domain name plus attorney fees. So, what is that in line with what Punks was saying?
You know, he didn't speak about specific statute and damages, but he did describe, like, you know, that it was a dangerous game that you don't want to play, especially not without an LLC, because then your house isn't on the conversation. If you're a person who has assets, you know, you just have to protect them. So at a minimum, that is the game that you must be, you know, wise to, is that you must protect yourself with a corporate veil. But even so, if it's determined that there's malfeasance, and I'm not a lawyer and it's not legal advice, but if it's like, if it's malfeasance, apparently, so I'm just like what I understood from what he said, that they can then penetrate the corporate veil and come after your legal assets there. So it's like, you act in good faith, you know, because otherwise, and even if you're trying to act in good faith, like, do your due diligence as well. Show that, at least prove that you can demonstrate that you had legal advice, you know, one way or the other. At least then you can kind of, you know, outsource it off to the attorney or giving you, and that's why the liability on attorney is so important. Why we have to seek good legal advice. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, what gets challenging in these things, you know, we haven't seen it yet, but I think once there is a case, like once there's that one instance where somebody decides, okay, like, this is my name and I'm going after it. Like, once we see that in the ENS space, I think it's going to set precedents for everything else that comes after it. Because right now we're kind of just speculating. But I also think, you know, majority of the people, they're like, yeah, whatever, they can sue me. But the thing is that if you're going against somebody that has unlimited amount of money, they would crush you. Like, even just discovery itself is like money pit of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what you do. So if you are an individual, even if you're a small company, like, it's going to crush you and it's going to destroy you. You know, and so now we're having these, like, I think, speculatory conversations with majority of the people that most of them have never been through a legal process. But the thing is, I mean, still, if you're going against a corporation that has their whole teams of lawyers and like billions of dollars at their disposal, or even millions of dollars at their disposal, like, it doesn't matter if you are in the right, like, you're going to be crushed. And Novak, I 100% agree with you, is that, you know, if you don't have if you don't have the corporation, like, if you don't have that protection, then everything is on the line. And even just like a threat of that, if you're a regular human being and somebody threatens you, just like even a threat of that, right, over a domain name. And so I think that we are kind of very, very, very early in this. And I think that once several companies start kind of claiming their copyright, that's, I think, what's going to set precedents. And I think that's where we're going to kind of create the baseline as to, like, you know, what names we can have and sell. And it was the same way with .com. It was like, on the beginning, the corporations were paying all this money because there just has never been a case. But it's much different with ENS because the law is already established. Like, you know, and even when people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to send it to a burn address. Like, if you do that, like, they will crush you. Like, it doesn't, like, yeah, that's awesome that you send it to a burn address and have a happy life paying off, you know, millions of dollars to somebody that's not even going to blink, you know, or lose sleep over destroying your life. Like, you know, and that's where, like, you know, sometimes, like, I listen to these conversations and I'm just like, yes, like, it's like we're having DJing conversations, not adult conversations, as to, like, you know, like, what the laws are, and looking at that and be like, well, this is how it's going to be applied. Maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe in 10 years. Like, we don't know how long we have, but eventually it's all going to become standardized. Like, I mean, it's just, you know, it's not going to be a wild, wild west forever.
Yeah, nobody on this show ever recommended in the last 24 to 48 hours sending other, you know, people's IP to the burn address. No one on here. So just go to the next show if you're looking at that first.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
look
I wasn't
backwards.
thinking
Always
about
look forward. Keep your eyes on the future. The past episodes aren't relevant to today's market data.
Hey, I mean, just be an awesome human. Like, I say it all the time, you know, it's just like, just be an awesome human and do how you want other people, like, treat other people like how you want to be treated, and don't be a jerk. And, like, we're all gonna get along. Like, it's just like, we can go so much further together that any of us can do it alone. And I mean, I know, Steve, you know, you talked about it a lot of times, even with all these, you know, NFT projects and all these incredible things. It's like, it's not like us versus them. Like, what can be accomplished if all of these projects actually come together and build some bridges, versus, like, no, I'm gonna go here and have my own conference, and no, I'm gonna do it all on my own, and I'm gonna, like, try to take, you know, hoard the you know, the people and supporters because there isn't enough to go along. And it's like, no, there totally is.
Yo,
like, it's just
that adversarial thing is so counterproductive to what we're trying to do with the I mean, I understand it, that there's a very antithetical, you know, to the egalitarian mindset of Web3, kind of a precedent that's been established by these, you know, corporations that have been flogging us and then extracting from us in every way for years. But to sort of just put them all into one category, it's kind of like a form of, like, corporate like bigotry. It's like,
Yeah.
to give them individually a chance, right, to like show their true colors. But I think the essential thing too is not to just start the conversation with, like, an extortive, combative thing. And that's why I think, like, the consulting conversation is so interesting, and understanding the legal scope of it is very interesting and has great utility, because that's actually, like, the missing ingredient. It's like there's this massive pressure differential, and, like, we just got to find the right way to kind of, like, push the equalization valve on it all.
Yeah, there's some really big kind of holes that I would like, you know, filled, that there just aren't enough knowledgeable people that can sit in those advisory positions. And legal is one of them, is huge. Marketing is also another one. I was on this great space from Zen Academy the other day, and they were talking about, like, it's great if you have Web2 experience, but you can't really take that and say, yeah, I can totally run a Web3 campaign. Like, it's totally different. Like, you can take your Web2 experience as a baseline, And so it is going to be helpful versus not having any experience. But I have seen people that haven't had any marketing experience whatsoever jump into Web3 space and execute amazingly, because they didn't have to do this like, oh, this is like what we do in marketing and this is like what we do in Web3, marketing Web2 versus Web3. They just kind of go, oh, this is how the space works, and they have this innate ability to understand the meme rules the day and like all this crazy stuff that as a Web2 marketer you're like, what the fuck, you're making memes, are you crazy? And it's like, yeah, like it's a different fabric. And I think conflict resolution is another one. Like I have seen so many communities and DAOs explode over like bullshit interpersonal stuff. And I think that the biggest thing that I have noticed is that we are trying to build communities, or no, we are building communities because we're humans. I mean, we're communal beings. Like I don't think that desire for us to come together is ever going to go away. It's just like wired. We're pack animals. But then we're also are in the age of individualism. Like nobody is like a part of, it's like you are an individual brand. So each one of us here is like building our own brand, and we're focused on you are your own thing. And then so you staying focused on building your own brand, and how do you continue building your own brand as you come together as a community? And I think that is our biggest challenge. It's like, how do we come together and still build strong cooperative communities in the age of individualism? Like that's what I've been trying to crack, and it's very difficult, and it's very, very different than how we have built communities in the past. And I think that is the biggest challenge that I hope, like we have the tools. It's not that Web3 doesn't have the tools, like all the tools are there, but the desire to and the competition, like I am my own brand, and therefore I have to, like everybody, like all of you are my competition. And so I have to figure out how to get more likes and how to get ahead. And if that means that like I have to take them from you, then that's okay. Like we have to figure it out, and we have to like crack that. And I think about it each and every day of how do we come together where we still stay individual, how we play to each other's strengths, because everybody has different ones, while we kind of work together, and how do we organize in that age of competition. But I think that's like one of the biggest challenges that we're facing, and I think we're going to see more and more and more of that in the upcoming years.
Absolutely. Lots of collaboration. Lots of people coming together. Lots of not just new consumers, but to your point, lots of new professionals, Web3 professionals, who will very quickly learn that ENS is a part of Web3. And to your point earlier, that there will be clashes between Web2 and, or just whatever the world is in Web3. And in the corporate world, a lot of people don't realize that, sometimes like Google has like teams of lawyers, right? And Google, they want to make the world better for them, and they want to make the chessboard better for them. And so the lawyers, their lawyers are watching what people are doing, so the lawyers can stop people, right? Like, lawyers are doing, they're stopping people from doing what they shouldn't be doing to protect the company. But with these really big corporate lawyers, it is like playing chess, and they're strategically going after which cases to fight, because they know if they're going to win a certain case, and when they win that case, they're going to like set a precedent, and they know for a fact they're going to win. It's going to be like a slam dunk. And after they get that slam dunk and create the precedent, they can then use that on a future case where it's not as much of a slam dunk, but becomes a slam dunk because the previous case was a layup for your then dunk. And really quick, sometimes these lawyers, they strategically want to win the case, but sometimes these lawyers will sue somebody and the intention of the corporate lawyers to lose. And by losing, they're also setting the precedent that they want to set for what they want to do. And so a lot of people are worried, like if they're going to be the ones that, you know, get attacked on that end. And it's just like a game. And a lot of people, like, yeah, it's a lot of money to have to like pay for all that stuff with having to do like things like discovery. But a lot of like people don't realize discovery, you know, means that they get to go through all your shit. Like yes and no, right? Some people will push back on that, be like, no, it has to be related to the case. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But, you know, like your whole life can get opened up, and it can like cost a lot of money, and it's like a lot of bullshit, and it's just a lot easier when, you know, I mean, it's just, yeah, we need more professionals. Like you're totally right at it. It's like we need to like have like an org chart and say, hey, this is the HR department, this is the legal department, this is the marketing department, this is the, you know, inside HR, this is the recruiters, and these are the people that, you know, help work with the accountants, and this is the accountant part, you know, department, and these are the organizers and the managers, and these are the project managers, and these, we need to have like this big org chart, and we've got to have all the materials for those people to onboard, right? We need to have onboarding for each of these groups, because when Facebook comes in, they already have like the org charts, and they already have the people in place, and they just have to do a little bit of like on-ramping. But we want to do building, right? It's like the majority of businesses in America, like I think they say more than 50% of all the businesses in America are small businesses. And it's that type of growth that creates like intricate, interconnected groups of people, and, you know, microcosms and sub networks, right? Like you got all the older folks with all their different hobbies on the blockchain, and you have all the younger folks with all their different hobbies on the blockchain. You have all these like business entrepreneurs with their hobbies on the blockchain, and amongst the business entrepreneurs, you have the real estate entrepreneurs, which is like their niche and the sub niche, and they all get into the blockchain, and they're all like interconnected, and they're all learning, and they're all connected with each other. They're not cogs in corporate machines. They're real people with real lives, with real businesses. And whatever they're doing now, because they're not in Web3 yet, whatever they're doing now in Web2, they're going to pivot. And that means they're going to do the same thing, but they're going to add the Web3 technology. They're just going to start accepting cryptocurrency. They're going to do nothing different except cryptocurrency payments, you know? And they're going to pivot. And we got to onboard them. And not only we got to onboard them, but we have to get them to up the speed so they can be precise, so they can have a plan, so they can execute, so they can be efficient, so they can be so they can contribute, and their contribution together with everyone else's contribution will be greater than the sum of the parts. And yeah, some of us here right now, we can help create, you know, those systems and those roadmaps and those doorways and those landing pages and those gateways. And we can do that with Web2 sites, and we can do that with Web3 sites. And I like it. There's a lot of work to do.
You know, just landing pages alone is a lot of work, and it's one job. It's one very small task that you can tweak infinitely. Okay, you could be a landing page guy, and when I think there's proof of concept that that's a job for somebody right here. And, you know, not even necessarily right here. Maybe nobody here could stand to do that repeatedly ad nauseum. Although, if it pays the bills, let's go. You know what I mean? So there's a lot.
I'm just sitting here like saying out loud to myself, well, not to myself because I would be on mute, but just saying out loud, Novax, you're not my supervisor. You can't tell me what to do. I'm not going to build landing pages right now. I'm going to go hire somebody to do that.
You will build the landing pages. You will build them.
It's just that meme from Archer that I keep seeing of Cheryl like just yelling, "You're not my supervisor." You know, the same exact meme that I send to Luke like almost every other week anymore. Sorry, rockets. Like we're gonna pretend.
Okay, it's okay.
It's all right. You can say Luke. You're good.
I
You know-
never realized how handsome Luke really is, and until just now when I realized how much he looks like Chris Cornell, the famous Soundgarden rocker. He's like almost like a young Chris Cornell.
You're hyping me up way too much, but thank you. I do appreciate it. I do.
I can see that. I see the Chris Cornell thing.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you should play on that.
Some days I wish. I will. Maybe that's what I gotta get. I gotta get ChrisCornell.eth and I'll roll with
There
it.
you have it.
Yeah.
You know,
Rest his soul. He was great. I saw him play live once. Speaking of live shows, are you guys into live music? Rockets? Have you been to some live shows?
Of course. Not Chris Cornell, but I've been to live shows.
Yeah. What's your best one? What's like one that you'd never forget? Good show.
John Bellion. You know him?
I don't think so. Let me see.
No. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to think of a song that he sings now, and I'm getting stage fright. But yeah, look him up. He's like, it's kind of like in more of an instrumental classical type pop. So he really focuses his music on like symphonies and instruments, and it's pretty crazy.
Oh wow, dude!
So
cool.
he sings like Going Deep and stuff like that. But that's like the most favorite one I've been to myself.
Nice. Dude, a good nothing counts. Like, I mean, it's funny how
I know you have Novak.
I've seen some shows, dude. I've seen a couple.
Yeah, you have.
Dude, no, I saw my best show I ever saw was what's his name, Jackson Brown. God, he's such a I love a storyteller performer, and a performer who like plays a few different instruments, keeps it interesting, dude. That's a good show.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, we're kind of I don't know if we're getting a little off track here.
But, we talk about music. We talk about
it's awesome.
It's like it's always like an arc, and toward the end of the show, it's like
I was just thinking, I gotta
thing you've ever done.
I was just thinking, I gotta pivot to figure out how to like wrap up the show. And then it's like Chris Cornell, favorite band, ChrisCornell.com.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's like we start with favorite whiskey and we end with like a whole bunch of inappropriate stuff. Yeah, I like promised myself recently. It was drowning. Drowning's always like everything that I want to respond to. I'm like, what I really want to say, it's really inappropriate. Like that's what I type out in comments. I'm like, I'm just not going to say it. And so I was like, going to be like less inappropriate. And sometimes you're just like, I don't have anything that's appropriate to say right now. Like everything that's like in my brain is like, yeah, I shouldn't say that on live TV.
I will use the comment section more for my off color remarks.
Off color remarks after show. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like this is what happens. It's like Whiskey Wednesday, right?
You guys want to have an after show?
Or do you guys whiskey
go? Who has to go?
I'll have to go in like 30 minutes. So,
Steve Miller, you got 20 minutes you got 20 minutes for an after show?
Please let me talk to my supervisor. Give me 1 second.
Okay, wife.
Talk to your supervisor. Because we'll talk about the after show. I don't know if we're gonna talk. We're just gonna talk about. I have it somewhere. Some sort of thing about Elmo and Hot Wheels. Where's this Hot Wheels tweet? Hot Wheels and it's like Fisher Price. I don't know. I gotta find this Fisher Price tweet with the Hot Wheels cars.
You were saying that with that Ohio thing pulling up. I'm like, whoa, Hot Wheels, what's going on? All those cars running around.
All right, let's
but speaking of inappropriate things, I will say that I did mint during this live stream. I did mint.
Did you really get it?
What?
Did you get it?
Probably not what you think.
Damn.
I got blue circle emoji.eth.
Oh, that was you? I saw that come through.
Yeah. Like just spelled out though.
Fully spelled out. Yeah, we're spelling out emojis now.
I do have a Gary minting story that I will tell in the after show, which is hilarious.
Dude, that's a club. Like everyone's gonna like quirk is. It's like a new club where you get the emoji name.
You're on the derivatives today. Holy smokes.
Yeah, but it's like it's like cryingfaceemoji.com, taco emoji, or .eth, taco emoji.eth, and like praying hands emoji, whatever it's called. Like that's could be a whole club. I got blue circle emoji.eth, and then I got blue badges.eth spelled out, and then I got blue circles.eth. I think blue circles.eth is baller. What do you think? Blue circles?
You better list that. You better list that.
For the auditory, visually impaired community who really want to, take them in.
I think it's like a lot of these things, like the worst stuff, if it's like, it's happening right now, it's kind of like immediate and it's hot. And then it's just like our attention span just sort of goes away.
Listen, something's happening with Coinbase and the blue emoji, the blue circle emoji.
Yeah, maybe
it's now a meme.
Yeah,
and because it's a meme, it's valuable. I've said that. You can check all the recordings anywhere that I've ever said before. Emojis were like really cool, and people didn't understand emojis, and I thought emojis were stupid. Even though I thought they compare the words, I still said if an emoji and a word, there's no difference. There's really no difference between an emoji and a word. If you have an emoji that's memorable, and you could say taco, taco, taco emoji, and and Taco Bell buys taco.eth. And they just have a Super Bowl commercial or a billboard, and it's like 3 tacos.eth, and you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna know what to do. You're gonna have everyone's on the mobile phone. And I always use that example. And I've always said if it's something that's very easy and sort of rare, like that's why all the hand, the different colors, those are like, lesser because there's like more of them. And
but there's more explaining. It's like it's if you can explain in lesser words, same with .coms. I mean, it's just like
taco, or like if you can just, if there's only one of it, it's a meme. It's a meme. But hey, listen, we got to wrap up the show. We got to do an after show. It takes me 5 minutes to get that going. And so we talked about a lot of blue circles. We're going to find out what it means tomorrow. So much cool stuff happening. Who's going to VCon? Are you guys going to VCon?
It depends when it is.
May. There's a shot then.
Yeah. Yo, somebody can help me figure out how to get color back in my life. I'm black and white out here, and I can't figure it out why. So,
I was going to ask you about that. I thought it was one of your just like film tricks you're playing on us all the time.
No, I played it a while ago, and I don't know how to undo it. It's one of those.
Well, now it's your brand. I don't know what to tell you, but now it's part of your brand.
You just got to go into your camera
that is so cool.
What,
somebody that just loves black and white.
Sepia.
Or he's Novak's live from 1950.
It's retro.
Yeah, you just have to open up find out what camera you're using, open up the camera settings, and go through there. But hey, a lot of cool stuff. For like all across the board, so much cool stuff we could talk about. A lot of that into the ENS. The ENS small grants is going to be closing. 12 hours, and then the public goods grants will be going through. I'm not sure if we can submit something for the public grants. I'm not sure if we will or not, but it's very exciting to talk about it. And by talking about it, we talked about a lot of the edges and some of the intricacies. And so we get deeper than the headlines, and we get into how these things work, and that's just making all of us stronger and all of us more knowledgeable to infect other people with that knowledge. And with that being said, wrapping it up, 184, anything you want to say to close it out?
Thank you. I'm 184.
Profound. I'm going to think about that later.
Hey, 184, what is this show?
I'm not baiting into that, but you're welcome to say it.
I'll get you there.
Wednesday, Whiskey Wednesday. Novaks, what's up? Anything you want to say to close it out?
Novax. Check out gymbox.io. I just fixed something live on the show. I fixed the very simple little error I was having with the SSL certificate. I had to get in the cPanel and add a little HTA access record in there. It was a very simple process, but it's given me so much joy because this little thing was pissing me off for weeks. I just never spent the time to actually go and problem solve it, and I just happened to implement the solution and we'll see it solved right here live on the show. So I think that's my thing I want to say is just plug away, have fun plugging away. It's fun. It should be fun. Try and frame everything as fun, even if it's terrifying. It's fun to be terrified, and you'll learn, as I am, hopefully. Thanks for having me.
I can see that. Yeah, definitely be terrified. Be terrified, and embrace the terror. Be the terror. Be one with the terror.
Maybe I'll come into full color modern day video even one day as well.
Yeah. No, like face. I think you kind of like, you know, hinted some good things. You know, like face your fears. You know, like a lot of people are afraid of public speaking. A lot of people are afraid of technology. A lot of people are afraid of, like, you know, getting into the weeds of a topic because maybe they don't feel like, you know, they know enough, or there's just like too much there. There's a lot of fears involved, and whatever that fear is, you know, I think it's really important. Like, there's a reason you're afraid of it, and so there's probably some healing or some growing or some opportunity, you know, there for you. So I love that. Rocket emoji, rocket emoji, rocket emoji.
Rocket. See, I guess I got a deriv too. Jeez. Oh, here we are. But yeah, it was good. There was a lot of, you know, stuff that flew past my head in terms of like legal stuff. That's again why maybe we got to reach out to Punks, and even if he does the old camera shut off, like he can still talk like this, can he? So yeah,
He has
let's
been
let
on
the
the show
whiskey
before.
talk. And oh yeah, oh I didn't know
Pretty
that.
sure.
I mean, I guess I remember you saying that, but no, I didn't
I
know.
think.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
could
it was a
be.
good show and ready for this after party.
Steve Miller, my mom's favorite Spaces host.
I love this headlines feature. It's been one of my favorite parts of the show, low key. Especially going around and reading what everybody changed to eventually. Shout out to Steve Miller's younger brother. That's of course rocket.eth. And of course, mom's second favorite, 184.eth, and gembox.io. Everybody's got such creativity here. And there's professionalism by way of Otta and Gary Palmer Jr. So appreciate you guys for, you know, keeping it down at home. But I'm the host of a little show called ENS Shark Tank. I hope you'll join me Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We like to have a lot of fun and educate on ENS domains from both an appraisals and valuations perspective, but also on the sales strategy side of things now. So we're having a lot of fun, and next week we'll be live from ETH Denver. So hope you will be joining us in person or just tuning in via Twitter Spaces, where we are every single week. So hope to see you on a show soon.
That's so cool. Yeah, we'll be tuning in that Tuesday live from Denver. Have a great time in Denver. And so much fun, so many fun things to do in Denver. Check out Meow. If you're bored, which you won't be, check out Meow Wolf.
Dude, I love Meow Wolf.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite experiences that I've had in the last like year, was going to their new installment in Vegas. Dear God.
Have you been to Denver? Denver Meow Wolf?
I've not been to Denver. Planning on going out to the Santa Fe one soon.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, enjoy Denver in a week. And yeah, Winter TV. Sorry, no giveaways today. Wah, wah, wah. Sorry about that. But we did give away a lot of alpha and a lot of good information, which may or may not be lame. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, we'll have some giveaways in the future. Ada.eth. What up?
I'm Ada.eth. I'm definitely having Denver FOMO. I will tell the story about Meow Wolf on after show. And I'm so happy we still haven't figured out how to adult properly. So I'm so happy that now we can do these, you know, little taglines and things and amuse ourselves. So I'll play along next time. Be an adult.
That's so cool. Yeah, so we're using the blockchain, and we're putting information on the blockchain. We're validating that information. We're minting information. I'm Gary Palmer Jr. .eth, and together we are minting coins.